Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I, male, 28, live with my small family, which consists of my mum, my wife, and 2 daughters. I run a small restaurant, which was started by my dad, and then was given to me and my elder brother, 32, who left us and moved to another state. My dad was a very hard-working person and worked as a government employee, but always had this dream of setting up a small business. He saved money all his life for his dream and started a small restaurant when he retired. No one was in his decision's favor, as a business is always unpredictable and everyone thought it was stupid to invest all of savings in something so uncertain. But my father was very motivated and did not step back. He was very passionate about this small restaurant and started it a year after his retirement. The restaurant started with a very low profit, but my dad was very positive and believed that it would soon be very profitable. As he was a retired officer, he was not left with much energy and got easily tired. A new business always needs so much work and energy, but my dad was incapable of coping with the work stress, but was not ready to give up on his dream. I used to work with him while my elder brother was constantly in search of a job and was never interested in the restaurant. The days went by, and my dad concluded that he was not fit enough for the work. So he made a decision. He called me and my brother for a conversation and poured his heart out. He told us how much the restaurant meant to him and that it was his dream forever. He told us that he had spent everything he had on that restaurant, but was left with no energy to carry it further. My dad told both of us that he wanted us, brothers, to take responsibility for the restaurant and work here, as he believed that the restaurant was going to be amazingly profitable. I listened to my dad calmly and understood everything he said, but my brother was not so happy with this decision. He told my dad that he knew from the start that this restaurant idea was a flop and would not end up good, but no one listened to him. He also said that the money which was spent on the restaurant could be saved or used to buy some property, which could give some profit in the coming years. My dad was visibly hurt, but tried to explain how much he believed in his idea and how the restaurant was going to change our days. My brother was not ready to listen and left the room. I assured my dad that I would work hard for the restaurant and also tried to convince my brother. He smiled and wished me the best of luck. I took responsibility for the restaurant from the very next day and started working day and night. Along with that, I tried to talk to my brother and convince him to join me, but all in vain. He would call the restaurant flop, crap, trash, and would curse the idea of running a restaurant. I stopped asking him to join me and took the whole responsibility myself. I put all my efforts into the restaurant and made sure everything was going perfectly. My dad was so proud of me and told me that I will be taking the restaurant to the highest peaks. My brother soon found a job in another state and moved there with his family. The job was well paid and he was very excited to move out. I, for the one last time, asked him about the restaurant, and he said I could keep that flop hut to myself and that he was least interested in it. He left and contacted us less and less, just to ask how everyone here was going. Meanwhile, the restaurant started giving better profit after my day and night's efforts, and now I was able to run the whole house with the profit from the restaurant. My dad was very happy and appreciated me for my hard work. My dad died 4 years later, and I felt like the restaurant was his only precious memory with me. The restaurant became closer to my heart, and I became more devoted to it. My brother came when my dad died and was impressed with the way the restaurant had improved. He stayed for a week and said that he'll be visiting often now for the sake of our mom. When he went back, he called me after a week or so and told me that he wants an amount of money every month from the restaurant profit, as he has a fair share in it. I told him that he was the one who left it and was never interested, and now I am not going to send even a penny. AITA? My brother was furious and did not call for a long time after that. I didn't mind because he was just being mean as always. He left as he got a job, always mocked my dad's ideas, and never supported him in his passion. My dad would feel low and degraded because of him, but never said a word. He would say that the restaurant was going to be shut down and we would not even be left with a penny afterward. He left and never looked back. He never asked if we needed any help or how the business was going, or whether he needed him or not, because, of course, he was never available for us. Now, when he just witnessed the restaurant running at its best and the profit we were gaining, he wanted his share. The restaurant is my only way of income, and my whole family depends on it, so I am not ready to compromise anything. So my brother called and said that he was serious about what he had said before and will be visiting soon. I'm curious to know what my brother has to say now. He was so sure that we will end up on the road, and if we kept on working in that restaurant, and now he would not let us enjoy the fruit of our hard work. I am ready to face everything he's going to put me through, though as he decided to leave and give up on the restaurant. So my brother came back and claimed half of the profit we get every month. I asked about his job, to which he replied that even if he has a job, he cannot be deprived of the restaurant as he has a share in it. I told him that before he left, he told us that he was not in the least bit interested in the restaurant and would never return to it. But what my brother keeps saying is that as the restaurant belonged to our dad, both of us are supposed to share it equally. Our mom got involved and told my brother that he was not supposed to come back like that and claim something to which he never contributed. Also, that he had a well-paying job, a better lifestyle, and didn't depend on the restaurant. The whole family's expenses, bills, and future depend on this restaurant. He can still do better, even if he does not get anything from the restaurant. He's stubborn and says that all he wants is an equal amount from the profit monthly and is not ready to listen to anything else. My whole family is very tensed out, as if we keep half the profit, we will be living hand to mouth. My brother has a good job, and even if he does not take the profit, he already lives a lavish life. My brother was not ready to step back and says that he will take his share no matter how it affects others. He's not even ready to listen to our mom and claims that we do not want to give him what rightly belongs to him. Yesterday, he announced that if I was not ready to give him half the profit every month, he would have to put the restaurant up for sale. He says that the restaurant should be sold and the money should be half between the two of us, and then we can do whatever we want with the money. It was heartbreaking for me, as well as for my mother, as we both were emotionally attached to the restaurant. My dad put up everything he had in the restaurant, and now I could not let anybody take over it. My mom took a stand and told my brother that if he wanted to take a fair share of the profit, he was supposed to work in the restaurant. She told him that he could only claim the profit if he decided to leave his job, move back, and put his efforts into the restaurant. This made my brother speechless, as he cannot leave his well-paid job at any cost and move back with the family. I told him that he could take his time and then tell whatever he decided. This morning, he came to me and told me that he could not leave his job and come back, and it was not fair as I was depriving him of his share. I told him I did not have bad intentions, but if he wants his share, he's supposed to work with us. I think he'll never leave his job and move back to work in the restaurant, thanks to my mom, who took a stand. AITA? The OP worked hard for the restaurant and believed in his dad's dream, so he deserves whatever he gains from the restaurant. He stood by his dad, respected and supported him with his passion. He never looked for a job and made that restaurant his only career, so no one deserves a profit from that restaurant but the OP. Also, the brother called the idea crap, but then shamelessly claimed the share when he saw the restaurant running smoothly. He was never ready to work in the restaurant, but wants the money from it. Moreover, he never looked back and asked his family if they needed his help in any way. Neither was he interested in how they were doing, and now when they have stood on their feet, he wants his portion. Even being well off and enjoying a better lifestyle than his family, he's hungry for the money and cannot take his eyes off the profit his family is getting. He was mean then, and mean now. But it seems like the OP's brother is right to some extent. The restaurant belonged to their dad and not to the OP. So the OP cannot claim the whole of it. Even if the brother left and was not interested in the restaurant at first, it's still his dad's property and he can claim his share. OP and his mom are somewhat right that the brother should come back and work with them if he desires a share, but he still does not deprive the brother of his share. At some point in life, the brother will be able to legally claim his share.
Next story.
I don't know if this is a universal experience, but when I was in elementary school, my teacher used to pair the academically gifted quiet girls with the lazy or troublemaker boys and give us a task to teach them something or discipline them. Most of the time, I hated it. I used to complain to my mom that my student was slow or stupid, although now I recognize that some of these kids may have learning difficulties and would require special care. But at that time, I didn't know any better. My 10-year-old niece told me that her teacher was doing the same. She had paired all the girls with all the boys and tasked the girls to help them learn their lines for the next play, help them with homework, etc. And guess what? My niece hates it. Her student is a troublemaker. He refuses to learn anything and makes fun of her with his friends. The teachers didn't ask the girls if they agreed to it, nor did she offer extra credit. In my opinion, she just had these girls do her job for her. I told my niece that she's not obligated to do this, and if she really doesn't enjoy it, she should let her teacher know and demand she's freed from that responsibility. Well, my niece did it, and the teacher complained to her parents, my brother and sister-in-law. My sister-in-law then called me to yell at me. She told me to keep my liberal ideas to myself, and that as a teacher herself, she understands how overworked and underpaid her colleagues are and doesn't see a problem with it. I told her that if she doesn't see a problem with her daughter's education being obstructed for the sake of a boy who doesn't care, then she's the problem. I am a doctor, and I wouldn't ask my healthier patients to help me with the sicker ones. I know it's not the same, but you got me. My brother agrees with me, and apparently my niece has started a revolution in the class with her demand, as more girls demand to be excused from this unwanted task. Some of the girls actually enjoyed it, and the boys are apparently learning. This shows me that the task itself is not wrong, but the way she approached it is. But I feel that from being parents to our younger siblings to being responsible for other students' education, little girls are being given more responsibility than they can handle. My sister-in-law still thinks I am TA, though. I don't think all boys are lazy or troublemakers, nor that there are no academically gifted boys who had the same experience. I just shared my own experience as context. I happen to be an academically gifted dude, and I hated this shit when I was a kid. I don't remember the gender dynamic as dramatically as you described. The gifted kids were pretty evenly mixed, but I'll admit all the troublemakers and biggest idiots were, in fact, dudes. Dudes picking on other kids, dudes derailing the class, dudes slowing lessons down, dudes just generally making the whole academic experience worse for their fellow dudes and most of the girls. I'm sure some MRA whack job would downvote me for this, but from casual observation, it does seem like dudes are getting dumber and women are accelerating their careers and academic performance. And it's all probably related to some toxic masculinity, macho culture bullshit. I don't have the time or energy to dig into it now. Sadly, this story doesn't surprise me. There is nothing liberal about this. No kid, regardless of gender, should have to put in extra work for their classmates. That's the job of the teacher, tutors, their parents, and there's plenty of online sources they could tap into. If anything of this is a constant problem where they force female students to teach the boys, that should be taken up with the board, not just one classroom.
Next story.
Okay, so basically, my boyfriend and I are in an LDR. I'm East Asian, I cook a lot, and I also visit my boyfriend a decent amount of times. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest and say they don't have good Asian food where my boyfriend lives. There's a couple of nice mom and pop restaurants, but everything else is mediocre. My boyfriend's best friend, Ima, calls him Tom for privacy reasons, loves fried rice. But he only eats bland fried rice from the Chinese American fast food restaurant inside the mall. I ate it myself and it was okay, but it was really lacking in flavor. We were hanging out in a group and I said that I could cook better fried rice. And he said, bet. So I say I'll cook it next time. Last month, I visited my boyfriend in his state again, and keeping my word, I decided to cook some fried rice for everyone. But also specifically with Tom in mind because I know he loves the shit. BTW, my cooking isn't even that great. The bar for Asian food is just on the ground where they live. I drop it off at Tom's workplace with my boyfriend who's driving me around. Tom tells us later that he loves the fried rice and asks me to make some more for him. Sounds good. I'll make another batch a few days later. Near the end of my trip, I'm hanging out with my boyfriend, Tom, Tom's girlfriend, and a bunch of other friends. At some point in the night, Tom's girlfriend, I'll call her Lisa, confronts me about how she doesn't appreciate that I was cooking for her boyfriend and dropping it off at his workplace. I've met Lisa before. She was always really nice and chill, and I felt like I hit it off with her. So I was seriously taken back by this. I told her that I remember Tom really liked fried rice, so I wanted to make some. And that we dropped it off at his workplace because we were already running errands around the area. She tells me it's sweet, but that I shouldn't be meddling with another girl's boyfriend. I said, wait, what? Then explained that I wasn't trying to meddle or do literally anything at all besides share fried rice. I didn't even give the food exclusively to Tom. I shared it with like 6 different people, including Lisa. She rolled her eyes and then ignored me the rest of the day, which was really awkward. I'm pretty sure she thought I had a thing for Tom, but that's not true at all. I don't even know him that well, and I didn't think cooking food would mean something like that. IDK? AITA here? Am I missing a few cues? Lisa is being immature. For some reason, she can't fathom the idea that another woman would cook for her boyfriend without some sort of ulterior motive, which is insulting to you, but also insulting to Tom. Does she not view Tom as an adult capable of having his own friends who happen to be women? Does she not view you as someone who can just want to be kind and share their culture with other people? Is she being kinda racist, assuming people from other cultures are trying to come over and steal her man or something ridiculous? IDK about that last one, but there's no good reason to treat you that way.